What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Junkies Podcast. A little bit something out of the ordinary. We're going to do NCAA on Monday this week. Maybe the NBA will come later in the week, but for now, we're just going to kind of do the NCAA. And the NFL will be on Wednesday like normal. And I don't know, one day this week, I'm telling you, it's already been recorded and edited. The 100 subscriber video will be out, so make sure you guys are on the lookout for that. And make sure you guys are subscribing. Like 90% of the guys watching these videos are not subscribed, and it would be really great if you guys would subscribe. It's free, and you don't lose anything, but you do gain an opportunity to get to know us here at the Sports Junkie. So I really want to thank you guys for the support. We just hit 100 subs, like I just said with the 100 sub video. That's coming out soon. We got some requested topics for this episode. Someone asked us to talk about Ole Miss. And then we have, we're going to talk about some spring game. The SEC just got into some spring games. Georgia played, Bama played, and LSU all played on Saturday. So I got a little sneak peek at those, looked at those a little bit, and I'll just kind of go over what I'm feeling from those three teams as a standpoint. And then I'll talk about Ole Miss, because we did get requested to talk about Ole Miss. And then that'll be it for this episode. This episode may not be that long. Really been grinding out on that 100 sub video, so make sure you guys look at that. And it'll probably most likely drop on either Tuesday or Wednesday. That's kind of the goal right now. Probably Wednesday, that middle of the week with the NFL, or maybe Friday, where it'll be a standalone just in case we don't upload the NBA this week. So just a heads up, there probably won't be an NBA video this week, but if there is, it'll be Friday late in the week. So be on the lookout for that, or I'll give you guys an update on that as we get closer to the 100 sub video. So just make sure you guys are looking out for that. But let's just get into this topic, man. So spring, we had a lot of spring games on Saturday. Georgia played Bama, LSU. I think some teams are still waiting to play. I think next week's gonna be a big weekend for a lot of the teams as well. It's gonna be interesting. And it was interesting this weekend because I saw a lot from these three games. And I guess we should maybe talk about Georgia first, because that is my team. I am a Georgia man. Sadly, that pain of 40 years is there. I might have to drop that problem with the Georgia Bulldogs soon, if they don't get on the right track. But first off, let's just talk about how good Carson Beck looked. I think Carson Beck looked really good. And it sucks because even watching Carson Beck, I know for sure this season he'll be the backup. He'll be that second string guy, because I'm like, there's no way Stetson Bennett should be seeing the field if anything was to happen to JT Daniels. Find some wood to knock on. I'm hoping JT can stay healthy, but Carson Beck looks like he was ready to come in and play. He made some questionable throws. He looked a bit questionable at points, but I feel like he's way better as a backup, and I think more prepared than how Stetson Bennett was when he came. I'm just trying to say, I feel like Carson Beck is better than Stetson Bennett, a better second option, and he's definitely a guy you want on the bench. Brock really didn't get any play time, which sucks because I really wanted to see a lot from Brock yesterday, and I really feel like he didn't get much time to play. And maybe that just showcases that Carson Beck is beating him out when it comes to actual practice right now and scrimmaging in practice. So, I mean, it's not a bad sign. But it's not a good sign either. It's one of those moments you just like, look, Brock's got plenty of time to improve, and I feel like next season will be Brock's year to really showcase his talent anyway, because it's going to be between Carson Beck, Brock, and then we'll have Gunnar Stockton. And I'm going to tell you right now off the rip, Gunnar Stockton is 95% chance he's not going to come in and start as a freshman. And I'm hoping that Kirby is understanding and he is prepared to run that quarterback room, because the last thing we need is any of these guys transferring from our team and turning out to be this great quarterback and this great player. So I'm really hoping that Kirby is prepared and ready to handle that quarterback situation, because we've seen him handle it terribly in the past. Let's just say that he has handled it poorly. Jesus, imagine Georgia with a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? When we got to the SEC championship and got smacked by LSU. What year was that? Was it 2019? No, 2020. Just imagine if Georgia had a quarterback during that season. Imagine if we had Justin Fields, because Jake Fromm wasn't playing good. And I mean, safe to say, Kirby Smart probably wouldn't have put him in anyway, considering this last season, which was another wasted season. We had JT just sitting on the bench after he had been cleared for weeks. I think I've already gone over that and talked to you guys about that, but I like what I saw from Carson Beck. Brock fumbled. He played only a few. He only threw the ball a few times. He didn't really get that much of an opportunity to shine. But I mean, he's obviously, they're seeing him more behind closed doors in practice. So I trust the judgment. Especially considering, like, hey, like I said, Carson Beck looked great. So, no ill will for me on that one. The O-line looked, how do I say it? Not that great. I think the O-line needs to improve a lot from what I saw yesterday. I think, obviously they're going against the best, D-line in the country. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, I'm not gonna, that's the thing I get from spring day. Is that's the one thing you got to take away from spring day is like, look, these guys are going against probably one of the best defenses in the nation when we talk about skill and talent. This defense is one of the best in the nation. So it's like when it comes to G-Day, I expect there to be a lot of defense, but it's one of those things where it's hard. It sucks because you want to see the offense explode, but you're not sure if the offense isn't playing up to par because of how good that Georgia's defense is, or if it's just the fact that it's still super early and they're still trying to build a lot of things and test out the new roster. I'm gonna tell you one thing. Why is Darnell Washington playing on the second team? Darnell Washington needs to be a big factor when it comes to Georgia's offense. I don't see how Todd Monken and Kirby Smart hasn't realized that, Darnell Washington has incredible talent. It's a 5-star tight end who can't be tackled, who's dangerous. He's got some good speed, who's dangerous in the open field. The fact that he is not, the fact that we aren't utilizing him. Look, they throw the pass to him once. He trucks a guy. I mean, it was a walk-on, but still, it's like, let's make sure we're getting Darnell Washington the ball. I do not want to see this guy's talent wasted at UGA. It's sickening, to see Darnell Washington not get the amount of snaps and reps and targets that I feel like he should have. So I really need Kirby to work on that, make it, and Todd Monken to make sure we're getting the ball in Darnell Washington's hands. I need JT to understand that Darnell Washington with the ball in his hands is like a guaranteed 10-yard, a 10-yard gain as long as he catches the ball. And I'm like, he's too big, so it's like a basic linebacker can't cover him. A cornerback definitely can't cover him. So let's line him up outside a little bit more. That's one of those things that I need Todd Monken and Kirby to understand. That's what it makes me kind of feel like they don't, when it comes to them running the offense, they still got a lot to learn because we still have these speed guys on the team that we're not utilizing. And I'm like, I need us to be utilizing these speed guys on the team. Let's get them open, burning downfield. Let's get these, let's make sure we're utilizing these speed guys to their abilities. It's like, let's not have a fast guy on the team and use him for screens and 5-yard, slant routes. Let's use him to run deep. Let's get those 30-40 yard passes up. Let's get them burning off the top of the defense and catching those long touchdowns. I'm like, Bama, they do that thing. They're like, look, we got this guy on our team. We're going to utilize him the way we feel like he's supposed to be utilized, like Jalen Waddle. They realize, like, hey, this guy is more than just a deep threat. He can also catch the ball, with these medium passes and then take off. So they started using him in the inside of the field on medium passes, and they would use him to run deep. That's really all Jalen Waddle did while he was at Bama. They got him the ball and tried to get him into space. That's all they did. Utilize players to their purpose, and Darnell Washington needs to be utilized as a big guy who really can't be covered, who's a demigod, and who's a once-in-a-lifetime type build for a tight end. So let's make sure we're using him, all right? Adonai Mitchell looked great, but I don't think it's like, I don't think people were comparing him to George Pickens. I'm like, please stop. I'm like, let's not do that. I'm saying, as much as I like Adonai Mitchell and what I saw from him yesterday, I do not think most of that's going to carry over to the regular season. I think, it's spring day. Georgia's cornerbacks are definitely still trying to figure out their identity. Like I said earlier, that's probably the weakest point of our team. So it's definitely, I'm not. Look, I like, as much as I like it, I'm not buying the hype. I'll see it when the regular season starts. Kears Jackson is one of those players that will, like, the regular season started and he dominated and he looked good yesterday. I'm expecting that to carry over because I've seen him carry it over. So, I like Adonai Mitchell, but I don't think that, it's going to carry over. But we will need somebody to step up with George Pickens being out. We got Burton, who should be back by then. We have Blaylock will be coming back. Marcus Rosemy it was dressed out yesterday, so he should be ready for the regular season after his gruesome injury. And then we got Kyrus Jackson. We all know how dangerous Kyrus Jackson is. And then we just got all that other talent on the team that we got to make sure we're utilizing. So that's how I felt from Georgia spring game. Let's talk about Bama a bit, because I got a comment about this where somebody said they weren't sold on Bryce Young yet, and I'm like, well, it's still early, and even then I was kind of considering, from what I've seen, he looked great. He made some great throws, some good tight throws, and I'm talking about his pocket awareness is already at an elite level. And I told you guys off the rip, when a quarterback goes to Bama, all you need is a deep ball and pocket awareness, and you will succeed. And it seems like Bryce Young has both of those from what we saw yesterday. He seems kind of more like a Tua player. Like, he won't just deep ball it most of the time, kind of like how Mac Jones did. He'll kind of be one of those guys, those prototype quarterbacks where he's like, look, I can throw this short pass, I can throw this medium pass, but you better watch out, because I can also throw this deep pass, this deep ball down the field. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, well, Bryce Young will attack you in multiple ways, and in the spring game he looked really good, especially from a pocket awareness standpoint when you're going against Bama's defense, for the first time. Well, not really for the first time, but he looked really good. And some guys were telling me they weren't sold on him yet, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I don't know. I like what I'm seeing. Aguaye Hall looks like he's going to be the next great wide receiver at Bama. I don't know if I said his name right, but he's looking like he's going to be the next big thing. We definitely could have used him at Georgia now that Pickens is injured, but, we didn't win that battle because, Bama has that man, that mythical creature coaching their team, Nick Saban. So you just really don't win many battles against this dude. And to be honest, it looks like Bama's reloaded. It looks like Bama's reloaded. However, I think this will not be an insane year for Bama, kind of like what we saw last year. Because we always see a Bama team like this that just has this dominant roster. And then we'll see them kind of like slack a bit. I think we'll be seeing like the 2020 Capital One Bowl Bama, you know what I'm saying? I think maybe Bama could potentially lose like 1 or 2 games. But I think, it's really going to boil down to how comfortable Bryce Young is when the season starts. Because I'm going to tell you right now, don't forget, Bama just had the highest recruiting class ever, 7 5-stars. And Aguaye Hall was one of those 5-stars that really looked great last season. In the spring game. So it's really... It's getting scary out here, man. Watching that from a Georgia standpoint, it just looks like Alabama's ready. Like, they've already got their offense like kind of pieced together. Like they understand where they're moving, where they're going, and it's Bama, man. They look like they're ready to drop 60 on your school. So sadly, they did lose a lot of their top talent. So we'll see how that plays off. Bryce Young luckily wasn't the starter last year, so he doesn't have to regroup with these guys. He really just has to get to it and build chemistry with his new teammates, which I'm seeing him do already. Like I said, he was making some of those tight throws. He was finding some guys open. His pocket awareness looks great. He was moving up and out of the pocket. I'm like, it looked smooth. It looked great. He looked like he'd really learned a lot from last season, his freshman year. I'm not sure if he was redshirted or not, but he looked really good. When we talk about pocket awareness and even throwing the ball, he does have some room to improve. I'm not saying he's already looking like a demigod, but he does have room to improve. And I think Bama will do some damage, but I think secretly, they may, or they'll probably make the SEC championship, because there's not really any SEC team I see beating this team. Maybe Georgia, maybe Texas A&M. And that actually brings me to my next topic, which was requested. Someone said that I should talk about Ole Miss's next season, because he said Ole Miss has a chance to upset Bama. He thinks Ole Miss will upset Bama. And my first reaction to that comment was obviously to laugh. I'm not gonna lie, man. When you say something like that, it's like, hey, Ole Miss can beat Bama next season. I'm gonna laugh because it's Bama. But then I thought about it for a few days. I was gonna record this earlier, but then I got to thinking, and I'm like, well, hold on a second. Ole Miss is truly building something special. Now, they're losing some offensive weapons, and and Matt Corral is working great with that Lane Kiffin offensive system, and Lane Kiffin is definitely building something great, in Mississippi with Ole Miss. But I think this season we will see what Lane Kiffin's plans for Ole Miss are. Okay, because last season I think they were bad, but they were decent bad. It was one of those things where it's like you play this team, but you wouldn't hold your breath. Kind of like Mississippi State, because I'm like, they ran that air raid and they could drop 30 on your 40 on your team if they wanted to. But I'm thinking this season will show Ole Miss fans how serious, how good Lane Kiffin is going to make Ole Miss. Because I'm like, if they don't, they got them a great quarterback who I think is potentially going to be a Heisman finalist in Matt. They did lose Elijah Moore, who I knew was going to be goated. He was supposed to go to Georgia, but we chose Tommy Bush over him, and now Tommy Bush is transferred, and we missed out on Elijah Moore. But I think this season we'll really see what Ole Miss is cooking. Okay, we'll see what Lane Kiffin is cooking with Ole Miss. We're going to see how good they're going to get. I think if they can win 8 games this season, at least 8 games, then I think we have to buy into the Ole Miss hype. But as far as saying that they'll upset Bama, I think they do have a higher chance than I felt like they did at first, because Bama, look, the thing is Bama's defense has downgraded. I'm not sure how good it'll get this season. Like I said with that recruiting class, I'm also not sure how many, young players Nick Saban actually puts on the field. You know what I'm saying? If he runs it like how Kirby Smart runs it, where Kirby puts all his young players on the field, as many as he can. If you're good, you're gonna play. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if that's how Nick Saban runs his team. I don't know if that's how he's running it at all. But I think like I said with Bryce Young, he's still going to be building chemistry. I'm telling you, I don't think this will be the craziest year for Bama. It can be. We really just got to see. It's Bryce Young, really. It boils down to Bryce Young, and it boils down to the new wide receiver group that they have trying to step up and make plays. But I think Ole Miss could. I don't know where the game is, if it's in Ole Miss or if it's in Tuscaloosa, but or should I say Oxford or Tuscaloosa? But I think we are definitely going to see a battle when Ole Miss faces Bama, because even when the two teams face each other, no matter what, it's always a shootout. And now that I feel like Ole Miss is getting better with Lane Kiffin, I think we could be underselling Ole Miss a bit, and I think Ole Miss could be getting better than we're expected. It's really going to be like, it's really just going to, because I know Ole Miss is still going to be Ole Miss. They're still going to have that high-powered offense. And I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how great Bama's defense is going to be. It could be great. They could be bad. But I agree with my viewer. He said he thinks Ole Miss will upset Bama. I'm not going to say I think it will happen, but I will say I think it can happen. It's realistic. It's not unrealistic. It can happen. But I'm not gonna run with it when that game comes up. I'm saying when that game pulls up, I'm going to expect Bama to win by 30 points. But it's going to be one of those games that's on my upset watch, on my upset radar. It's one of those games I'm going to watch. It's one of those games I'm going to make sure I don't miss, because you never know what's going to happen. We haven't seen Bama lose in a while. So, watching Bama lose would be great from a Georgia fan's aspect. So I mean, that's really what I have for Ole Miss now. And I may even look into Ole Miss a little bit more and talk about them again next week. But for now, that's just really, that's just what I wanted to talk about. And that was a requested topic. So I hope I've answered your questions. And I hope that we've kind of had a good vibe here on the channel. We just hit 100 subscribers, and the vibe is heavy. And I can't wait to get that 100 subscriber video out, and I'll be getting it out really soon. Like I said, it may drop the end of the week, or maybe even Tuesday, Wednesday area, but it is ready. And I'll just comment down below. So if I need to make any changes, I can. But we do want to do a giveaway, probably in the next 2 weeks or so. We want to give out a jersey. We want to give out just some merchandise, man, back to the community, because it's crazy when you can, people really enjoy this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's easy to create a YouTube channel and just put up videos, but it's hard to actually build a following. And the fact that we've done that here in 5 months is really insane. And it's been a great feeling throughout. So I want to thank you guys, but keep subscribing if you're new here, because 90% of you guys watching the channel are subscribed, and I hope you guys enjoy my sports rambles and my rambling. So become a sports junkie today, and make sure you guys are subscribing. And until next time, this has been your boy Kid. See you soon.